White walls, fluorescent lights. A young man stands alone in a hospital corridor, holding a piece of paper that has just rewritten his entire future in a single sentence. The doctor speaks with clinical distance. The diagnosis is unusual, not merely a terminal illness, but one that will spread outward, turning him into something that destroys everyone around him. He absorbs every word in silence. There is nothing to say when reality arrives at full, unfiltered weight. The verdict has been handed down. There is no appeal. 6 months. That is the number written on the paper, and now he carries it back out into a city that has not paused a single second for him. Strangers push past him. Traffic keeps moving. The world remains completely indifferent to what just happened inside that building. Life goes on whether he joins it or not. He thinks about how hard he worked to reach this point. Every sacrifice, every obstacle cleared. Every moment he told himself it would eventually be worth it. 6 months. He keeps walking anyway, because there is nothing else left to do. No destination. No purpose. Just motion, because stopping would mean confronting what is already true. He remembers the years he spent working and striving, believing that effort eventually earned its reward. He believed in the system. He believed in forward momentum. That belief is gone now. He thinks about the people who will be affected, the ones who got too close, the ones he can no longer protect simply by being near them. Distance is the only kindness left. He passes a crosswalk. The light turns green. He steps forward, and then there is no gap at all between that moment and the impact. A car, no warning. His body hits the cold asphalt. The world tilts and goes completely still. He lies there with his cheek pressed against the ground, staring sideways at the street. A lottery ticket drifts just out of reach. The one small thing that ever went right, fluttering inches away like the universe's final, perfectly timed joke, almost close enough to touch. His voice cracks open against the pavement. He whispers it first, then louder. He wants to live. He does not want to die. Please, please. Both hands pressed flat against the ground, voice stripped of every defense, he screams it with everything left in him. No performance, no composure, no dignity preserved. He offers everything he has, which is nothing except the raw wanting itself in its most desperate and unfiltered form. Every part of him aimed at whatever might be listening. He asks only not to end here, not on this road, not after all of it. The road gives no answer, but something else does, and it is not remotely what he asked for. A vast skull-crowned entity materializes before him, draped in chains, wrapped in flame the color of dried blood. Ancient and enormous, built for annihilation, not warmth. He did not ask for a skeleton body. He did not ask for any of this. He was reincarnated, yes. But as a demon king, a form built purely for destruction, nothing more. He cannot eat. He cannot feel warmth. He cannot perform the most basic physical dignities any living creature takes entirely for granted. He makes that point loudly and immediately. He stands in this new form and catalogs everything it cannot do. The list is long. The most important items on it are simple human things. A meal, a breath, a heartbeat. But the body he has been given has none of those things. Only power. Vast, obliterating, utterly purposeless power that does nothing for the hunger in what remains of his soul. A battlefield stretches before him. Rebel forces, ranks deep and determined, are arrayed against him. He moves into them like a force of nature that learned to hold a weapon. Every motion is a verdict already written. His skeleton frame carries no mercy, no satisfaction. Only the cold mechanical fact of completion, one enemy after another falling before him. He tears through the rebel forces with absolute precision. The scale of it would fracture most minds. And beneath all of it sits the awareness that none of this is what he wants. He devastates everything they send against him. Each swing of his arm reshapes the battlefield. Thousands fall. He does not slow. He does not feel triumph. He just continues. He moves like inevitability given form. The rebels scramble, regroup, throw their strongest fighters at him. None of it matters. He has already decided the outcome. He always does. The enemy commanders try to coordinate a counterattack. He watches their signals with the flat attention of someone too powerful to be genuinely threatened, then removes them from the field. The battle grinds toward its conclusion. Ranks collapse. Standards fall. The last pockets of resistance are snuffed out with the efficiency of a man completing a task he never asked for. He turns to find the last enemy standing before him, wide-eyed, trembling, holding a weapon that means nothing. One strike. Done. The field goes quiet in every direction. He plants himself in the wreckage and says it flat, without ceremony or triumph. Finally, it is over. No victory lives in his voice, only the blunt fact of completion. He stands among the debris and the silence, and the hollow weight behind his eye sockets is total. He has unmade armies. He still cannot taste food. He still cannot feel warmth. A system notification materializes before him like a receipt for a transaction he never agreed to make. Subjugation of the rebel forces. Complete. He raids it with the energy of a man checking errands. Titles accumulate across his record, one after another. Designations that would bring any other warrior to their knees in disbelief. He catalogs them with the flat indifference they deserve. Demon King. Immortal Sovereign. Harbinger of all ruin. Words that echo across 3 planes of existence, announcing his presence to every being capable of perceiving it. He does not care. They were never the point. The point has always been simpler. More human than any title can contain. Real food eaten with a real mouth. Real warmth against real skin. A body that functions. He arrives at the divine realm with every task completed. Every enemy crushed. Every condition of the agreement fulfilled exactly as specified. He did not cut a single corner. He stands before the divine gathering and presents his case without theatrics or apology. The contract was explicit. He held up his side entirely. Now it is their turn to deliver. He states his goal plainly, the same goal he has stated from the beginning. He wants to eat something disgustingly good. He wants warmth. He wants skin that actually feels things. He is not begging this time. He is the most destructive force across 3 planes of existence, and he is standing here for exactly one thing, the thing that was promised. The golden-haired figure among the divine speaks first. The words come out with the rehearsed steadiness of someone delivering an answer they hoped would never actually need to be given. Beyond their forbidden techniques, no known method exists to transform a fully realized demon king into a human being. The golden-haired one lets that settle before continuing. Since transformation is beyond their power, they offer an alternative. He will remain as a weapon instead. Contained, useful, wielded for their purposes whenever they decide he is needed. He will serve. He will be kept. He will be useful the way a sword is useful, maintained, stored, and drawn when required. The divine being finishes speaking and waits. He listens to every word. His expression, such as a skull can have one, does not change. The silence stretches. Then something begins to ignite from somewhere very deep. He is not confused. He is not surprised. He has heard the offer and understood its full implications. And now the rage begins to build from a place past ordinary emotion. The contract was clean. He fulfilled every single obligation laid before him. Now they are telling him they cannot fulfill theirs. That is a breach. That is an unacceptable breach. He does not care about their forbidden techniques. He does not care about their political needs or what they consider a reasonable alternative. He was promised one specific thing, a body with warmth, a stomach that functions, skin that actually feels the sun. That promise is being quietly walked back by beings who apparently never had the means to keep it. They chose not to say so until all the work was already done. Every army crushed, every realm subdued, every title collected, and now at the finish line this. He looks around at every face in the hall. Divine beings, ancient and composed, waiting to see how he responds. What he is about to do will change their expressions significantly. Power erupts through the hall as every restraint releases simultaneously. His declaration lands with the force of a verdict. They will all become skeletons. Every single one of them. He will reshape every divine being in this realm into something resembling what they made him. Not only as punishment, but as a precise statement about what was done here. His laughter tears through what remains of their composure. The hall trembles, pillars crack. The divine realm itself reacts to what he is becoming in this moment of absolute fury. And then one figure steps forward, and he stops completely cold. One man, still standing. 2 words delivered with total precision. The force that shattered armies cannot move a single inch. The laughter cuts off instantly. He strains against whatever holds him, finds nothing to push against. The technique is not brute force. It is something else entirely, precise and practiced. One robed figure has halted the full momentum of a demon king using nothing but technique. No divine power, no physical strength. Just a method called eradicate destruction, applied with perfect form. He was stopped before he could finish. The hall stabilizes around the wreckage of his attempt. The divine beings straighten themselves and compose their expressions. The robed figure simply stands. The golden-haired scion explains calmly. Now that he is subdued, his options have changed. He can serve as a contained vessel or be managed accordingly. Those are the available choices. He listens to every word with complete attention. Every syllable, every nuance of what is being offered. Then he addresses all of them with a single, flat, two-word assessment. Idiots. If they were going to do this, they should have managed it without getting caught. But they did not. And now he has a third option that they apparently forgot to account for. He would rather self-destruct than be turned into a weapon. He makes that decision with the total calm of someone who has thought it through and found the math to be simple. The hall erupts. Light tears through every surface as the explosion rips outward, more sun than fire, wrong in every direction. The ritual activates the moment it detects the detonation. His demon king's soul compresses, fragments, and is forced into a transfer protocol that was prepared long before this conversation ever began. He never actually had a choice at any single point. The scion brushes dust from their robes as the light fades. It is fine, they say. The god will recover. The soul will be sealed into a new vessel somewhere in the mortal world. Everything is proceeding exactly as designed. Every move he made, every army he crushed, every demand he made, every act of rage, all of it was anticipated and accounted for. The plan is laid out plainly now that the chaos has settled. No more uncontrolled variables. No more demon kings wandering freely through agreements they were never meant to survive intact. A perfect human vessel will be constructed in the mortal world, precisely calibrated, completely contained. Once it is ready, whatever lives inside it will eliminate everything that remains. The divine attendant speaks with something that functions like deep, settled satisfaction. Will the demon king's power be sufficient? More than sufficient. The trap has always been fully closed. Darkness first, then light, so sharp it stings. Then softness everywhere at once, a warmth with no equivalent in any battlefield ever crossed or any realm ever endured. He surfaces slowly, cataloging each sensation with the frantic precision of someone who has been without them far longer than memory can accurately measure. Soft skin, small hands, eyes that water. He checks everything twice. Then a third time, unable to trust what his senses are reporting. Then he announces it at full volume with everything brand new lungs can manage. He is human. He has hands. He says it again because the first time was not sufficient to contain the fact of it. He is human. He actually has hands. Two strangers lean over him. Their faces carry the careful neutrality of professionals completing something unpleasant but considered necessary. One notes that he was sleeping so peacefully. Things would have been kinder, the first one says, if he had simply stayed that way. He processes the situation rapidly. Reincarnated, human body, infant form, and someone is already holding a bottle. The formula will put him back to sleep, they explain. It will be peaceful. He will not suffer. They say this with the gentle tone of people who believe they are being kind. He blazes red eyes at both of them. He just died. He fought armies. He screamed his way back to existence with every fragment of his being, and now they want to end it here in a nursery. He screams with everything this small new body contains. Not a chance. Not after all of it. Not now. Not here. Absolutely, completely, and entirely not. A blinding flash cuts through the air as something hurtles toward the golden-haired child with terrifying speed. The tiny baby grimaces, forced to endure another bitter concoction past his lips, his small fists clenched in silent resistance. A purple-haired butler recoils in shock while the flustered maid looks on, unable to explain what they are witnessing. The infant's deep crimson eyes droop half shut, radiating profound exhaustion and barely concealed contempt for his relentless feeding situation. That single eye tells the whole story. This is no ordinary baby, but a mind far older staring out from within. Seen from below, the infant's rounded cheeks and furrowed brow paint a portrait of dignified displeasure no ordinary baby could manage. His tiny features scrunch into an expression so fierce and calculating that it seems utterly impossible for a creature his size. He was once a demon lord feared across countless realms, now reduced to making faces at servants in a golden crib. Awakened and furious, the baby kicks his legs and waves his fists, shrieking demands that no one around him can comprehend. A broad, scarred face cracks into a savage grin. The man who tampered with the ceiling ritual watches with cruel satisfaction. The child bites down on the bottle with supernatural force, sending shockwaves through the crib and startling every attendant in the room. The two flustered servants hover anxiously over the cradle, exchanging panicked glances as the strange infant continues to defy all expectations. In a distant memory, a languid, smiling figure cradles a glowing artifact, the one who scrambled the ritual and changed everything. Back in the nursery, the infant suckles urgently from a vial of glowing green liquid, his expression surprisingly focused and alert. Two conspirators stand in shadow, their smiles eerily calm as they survey the aftermath of the ritual they deliberately sabotaged. The gleaming towers of the Holy Hellion Empire's Central Eastern Temple pierce the sky, a monument to power wrapped in sanctity. The temple's high-ranking bishop surveys the approaching delegation with barely disguised contempt, calculating the angles of whatever game is being played. Fine golden embroidery and military decorations catch the light, the mark of imperial authority on full display, demanding total deference. The Prince of the Empire himself has arrived, his golden hair and cold bearing leaving no doubt about this visit's true weight. Both sides face each other across the marble hall, all smiles and formal bows masking the deep rivalry simmering just beneath. The bishop's laughter echoes through the corridor, warm and welcoming on the surface, but his eyes remain sharp and calculating throughout. His grin stretches too wide for sincerity, a man who has spent decades learning to make ruthlessness look like open hospitality. Another smirk from another corner. In this empire, everyone is playing a game, and one infant has already changed all the rules. Footsteps echo across polished stone as the delegation moves deeper into the temple, each step measured for dominance and careful control. The bishop's expression hardens the moment pleasantries end, revealing the iron fist that has kept this temple under absolute control for years. Somewhere in the shadows, a vast, monstrous entity grins with horrifying patience, content to wait while its intricate plans unfold below. Feet pound urgently across stone floors as someone races toward the nursery, driven by desperate news from the inner chamber. Cold sweat lines the bishop's brow. Whatever he has just heard has rattled the composure of a man who never rattles. The Empire's prince crashes through the chamber doors with enough force to shake the walls, demanding answers with barely restrained fury. The maid shrieks and stumbles backward at the sudden intrusion, her tray clattering to the floor as the lordly entrance rattles everyone. The prince locks eyes with the scene before him, jaw tight, measuring everything in a single cold sweep of his gaze. The senior official strains under the weight of the unspoken confrontation, his expression a mask barely holding over genuine, rising alarm. An alarming tower of empty bottles tells its own story. The infant has consumed quantities no child his age should physically hold. Panic floods the official's face as the implications of what the baby has consumed begin to dawn on him fully. A single enormous eye fills the frame, gleaming with unshed tears. Yet behind those tears burns something ancient and dangerously aware. The infant's expression shifts dramatically as something unseen enters his small body, his eyes blown wide with shock and recognition. Despite everything, the baby nurses contentedly from the glowing bottle, one tiny thumb raised in cheerful approval of the magical substance. Within his inner realm, the former demon lord confers with an ancient skeletal advisor, a remnant of the power he once wielded. The infant collapses into helpless laughter, arms and legs wiggling, releasing the joy of a mind finally finding something worth celebrating. Even the ancient skull cannot maintain its fearsome dignity in the face of such genuine, unguarded, and thoroughly infectious baby delight. The butler and maid stare in horrified awe as the infant grabs an ornamental weapon and swings it with terrifying competence. The dark-haired butler melts completely, leaning over the crib with a besotted grin while the baby stares upward with wary red eyes. Another successful feeding. The baby flashes a satisfied thumbs up while draining his bottle, clearly pleased with the current arrangement. Without warning, the infant's hair flares brilliant white as his mana core awakens fully, flooding the room with blinding, crackling energy. The child stands at the center of a swirling, ethereal formation, tiny and radiant, power cascading outward in luminous crashing waves. Raw magical energy detonates from within the formation, tearing through sealed barriers that were never meant to be reached, let alone broken. The baby screams, not in fear but in exertion, as everything compressed within his tiny frame is unleashed all at once. The explosion tears outward in every direction, a supernova of condensed mana impossible from any living being, least of all an infant. When the light clears, the child stands alone over a vast shattered ruin, small and peaceful against the enormous scale of destruction. The shockwave continues to radiate outward, scouring stone and shadow alike, leaving no trace of the darkness that had gathered within. At the epicenter, pure white energy burns away layers of corruption that had gathered around the infant's mana core since birth. A towering shadowed entity looms over the child's inner world, enormous and ancient, dwarfing the small figure standing its ground below. The entity's single burning eye fixes on the infant's soul below with predatory hunger, confident in its overwhelming size and power. Cracks race across the surface of a massive ethereal barrier as the infant's released mana strikes it with shattering force. Impossibly small against the vast destruction surrounding him, the child stands firm at the center, arms at his sides, expression utterly calm. One eye snaps shut in a victorious wink. The demon lord is trapped in a baby's body, but he remains absolutely himself. Back in the mortal world, the butler releases a raw scream of desperate anguish. His young master had stopped moving entirely. Then, without warning, the baby stirs. The servants scramble in disbelief, clutching him close as soft sounds confirm he is still alive. In the spirit realm's aftermath, a chibi-sized demon lord strikes a victory pose atop the wreckage of his defeated inner enemy. From above, the ornate Gothic crib holds a sleeping baby while the bewildered butler stares down, still processing what just happened. The infant yawns enormously and contentedly, utterly unconcerned by the chaos his existence has already caused in both worlds. The imperial prince confronts the silver-haired bishop with cold authority as a companion looks on, the balance of power shifting visibly. The bishop's resolve crumbles under the weight of accumulated failure. A quiet groan is all he can manage as his schemes unravel. Far away, a shadowed observer peers through an arcane window at the sleeping child, smiling with the patience of centuries. In the deepest layer of darkness, something ancient and grinning fixes its hollow gaze on the future that has just been set in motion. The baby grins and winks with the unbothered confidence of someone who has already survived worse than anything this world can offer. High above the silver-haired official, the looming dark figure tilts its massive face downward with a smile that promises nothing good. The scarred villain's face twists with incandescent rage. His carefully laid plan failed utterly, and the infant responsible is still laughing. Rain soaks the bishop to the bone as he stands alone in the downpour, the full weight of his failure settling over him. A goblet is set down with quiet finality, the candlelight casting long shadows across the cold stone walls of the imperial palace. A robed figure stands with his back turned, silver hair falling past his shoulders, radiating cold authority before an ornate altar. The masked man tilts his goblet slowly, dark red liquid curling through the air like blood given motion, his single glowing eye half-lidded. An older official laughs nervously, his face reflected in the golden chalice, a flicker of fear behind every practiced smile. The goblet strikes the marble floor with a sharp crack, wine splashing outward in a vivid red arc, the sound echoing through the hall. The silver-haired priest stands rigid, his back still turned, while the blonde official reels from the force of the impact below. The masked lord turns fully now, his golden eyes burning with cold fury, a dangerous smile spreading across his sharp and weathered face. The older official staggers backward, blood trailing from a split forehead, his expression twisted in a grimace of shock and pain. A heavy silence falls as the official collapses to his knees, and a blonde-haired child stirs weakly in the bed behind him. The child lies unconscious, small face pale and drawn, while the silver-haired priest hovers close with an expression of grim calculation. The infant sleeps fitfully, clutched tight to the bedding, dark energy coiling above like smoke from a dying flame barely visible. A blond young man stares upward with red eyes wide open, frozen still as a shadow looms above him from the waking dark. The crown prince himself stands at the bedside, his golden military coat gleaming, one gloved hand reaching down toward the sleeping child. The child's eye snaps open, deep red and burning, filled with a raw and sudden awareness far beyond its infant years entirely. The crown prince grins slowly, stroking the child's blonde head with an easy familiarity that carries something deeply sinister beneath it. The infant stares back from the cradle, red eyes blazing, tiny fists clenched, processing every detail with an adult mind in a helpless body. The silver-haired priest holds the baby carefully, smiling down at the child with affection that doesn't quite reach his cold and watchful eyes. The child screams with full baby fury, wailing dramatically in the priest's arms, a tiny skull-shaped specter hovering just above its head. The priest cradles the infant while two dark-uniformed soldiers stand at attention behind, the room tense with unspoken orders waiting to be given. A massive crackle of dark energy erupts above the cradle, crackling purple light swirling as the infant lies beneath it entirely unbothered. The infant blinks upward as purple miasma rises from its small body, the priest watching from behind with an expression caught between awe and dread. The crown prince leans close over the cradle, his expression shifting from smug to genuinely unsettled as the purple aura thickens around the child. The old priest breaks into a wide grin, creasing his weathered face, while the blonde prince turns away with a troubled frown forming. The child writhes uncomfortably in the crib, dark purple energy, flickering over its tiny form as veins of shadow trace across its skin. The priest's face darkens sharply as the child convulses, sweat forming on his brow, his smile collapsing into something between concern and calculation. A skeletal hand wraps slowly around the infant from outside the crib bars, the dark energy intensifying as the priest leans in closer still. The priest holds the infant up in both hands, examining it with clinical detachment, while outside the window a dark sky churns with clouds. The priest's face splits into a terrifying grin, one eye gleaming, as he cradles the wailing child tightly against his chest with possessive care. The crown prince stands back with arms crossed and a smirk, watching the scene with mild amusement while the priest fusses over the baby. The infant peers suspiciously over the priest's shoulder, tiny red eyes scanning the room with the sharp vigilance of someone much older watching enemies. The priest cradles the baby and laughs, tilting forward with delight, while the child in his arms clings on with an expression of resigned exhaustion. The priest turns with a knowing and dangerous smile as purple energy swirls at his back, carrying the infant like a trophy through the halls. A skeletal hand encrusted with golden chains grips tight, dark light radiating from cracked knuckles as a golden cross gleams at the center. Two skeletal hands wrapped in chains and dark energy reach outward against a vivid purple backdrop, a blade of bone piercing the air between them. Massive violet and black energy erupts overhead like a storm breaking, its tendrils reaching down as three small figures brace below in the courtyard. The infant grins with unhinged delight, hair wild and red eyes blazing, one small fist raised triumphantly while dark energy crackles all around it. The old priest howls as a brilliant flash strikes him squarely in the face, blood erupting from the impact, his hat flying off his head. The infant delivers a tiny but devastating headbutt directly into the priest's nose, both of their expressions caught mid-impact in a burst of golden light. A baby fist clutches a bottle with impossible determination, and there is nothing in the world small enough to dismiss what just happened here. The priest reels backward in slow motion, face crumpling around the blow, blood flying, his whole body beginning to tip off its center of gravity. The infant launches itself into the priest's face again, this time wreathed in golden holy light, a tiny angelic halo flickering above its head. The priest clenches his jaw as the child collides with him again, eyes rolling, cheeks smashed inward by something that weighs barely 10 pounds soaking wet. The infant beams triumphantly, one fist raised and glowing with divine light, the priest barely visible as a crumpling blur at the edge of the frame. The priest's face is ravaged and streaked with blood, eyes wide and unfocused, his expression one of complete disbelief at what has just occurred. The infant and the priest collide in a blinding surge of golden energy, the force of it sending both spiraling through the air together. The priest staggers sideways with the baby pressed to his chest, their combined momentum barely controlled, golden aura pouring off them both in waves. The priest slams into the far wall, cracking plaster, while across the room the crown prince and his guards watch the chaos with silent, stunned faces. The crown prince stands at the window with outstretched arm, issuing an order, his gold and black military coat gleaming under the cold morning light. A cracked and corrupted hand rises from the wreckage, dark chain links and golden stars coiling around stone-gray fingers still clutching a broken blade. The same hand, now blazing with purple fire and black rot, extends outward while golden crosses burn along its knuckles in fractured ancient patterns. Violet tendrils explode upward from the priest's crumbling fist, lashing outward while far below 3 tiny figures scramble to avoid the widening destruction. The infant stands at the center of the chaos, hair wild, eyes blazing red, grinning with a manic joy as the world erupts around it. The infant grips the chain tightly in its tiny fist, purple energy threading through its fingers, its expression darkly smug as it holds the power steady. The priest clutches the baby from behind as golden light streams from both of them, stumbling forward against the crackling and collapsing space around them. The priest's face is consumed by shadow, a single blue eye visible through the dark as purple energy swallows the edges of his collapsing form. The priest turns away carrying the child in his arms, his tattered robe trailing, as the crown prince and 2 soldiers watch their retreat in silence. The child sprawls in the priest's grip, red eyes half-closed and dazed, tongue lolling slightly as golden holy energy pulses weakly from its small body. The priest runs with the baby, carrying it carefully past scattered furniture, as 2 figures in purple capes close the distance rapidly from behind. A full-body view of the crown prince facing the priest and child across a wide, empty floor, silence stretching between them before whatever comes next. Massive violet tendrils surge outward from the priest's corrupted arm, engulfing the air around the 3 figures watching helplessly from the courtyard below. The infant laughs and reaches upward with wild-eyed delight, hair standing on end, as gray smoke curls away from something just destroyed behind it. The child grins as it holds up the priest's torn chain rosary, its skeletal hand wrapped around the broken links, triumphant and deeply unsettling entirely. A colossal dark entity erupts overhead, its purple tendrils writhing violently as 3 figures brace beneath its suffocating shadow. The golden-haired lord screams with unrestrained fury, every muscle in his body straining against the monstrous force pressing down from above. An elder in white robes stands opposite a purple-cloaked guard, who holds a tiny child cupped carefully in both gloved hands. The elder clutches the baby tightly against his chest, his scarred face contorted in rage as an accusing finger points directly at him. The chibai child presses her face gleefully into the guard's shoulder, her chubby cheeks flushed pink with pure delight and laughter. A dark shadow warrior materializes at the center of the hall, crossing twin blades as four stunned guards scramble to contain the chaos. A monstrous skull-faced demon surges with devastating red energy, its massive skeletal claws radiating raw, destructive power in all directions. The little one tilts her head in total bewilderment, question marks floating above her blonde hair as a gloved hand steadies her gently. The dark entity coils with explosive purple force around a dark-haired young man who holds his ground with quiet, unshakable resolve. A golden-haired commander surges forward in full uniform, shouting orders to his troops while a dark-haired figure crouches low beneath him. A guard cradles the sleeping child protectively against his chest, grimacing as dark claws close in dangerously from both sides around him. A ghostly chibai figure dashes away gleefully while a soldier in purple armor tumbles hard, sent flying by a brilliant burst of energy. The shadowy skull entity looms with unmistakable shock, questioning aloud whether this young man could truly be the legendary Holy Paladin. The dark creature dives at blinding speed directly toward a young man who shields the sleeping baby tightly against his trembling chest. A guard yells sharply as something massive crashes through the wall overhead, sending debris raining down while he clutches the child close. The nightmare dragon swoops down with terrifying speed, all jagged claws and gnashing teeth, as a guard flees desperately across the floor. Two knights draw their blades in perfect unison, while a third guard sprints away in the background, still clutching the precious child. A blood-red skull demon roars with absolute fury, twin blade arms raised high and blazing with raw, malevolent, destructive energy all around it. The young saint staggers backward with holy light erupting brilliantly from his body, burning white-hot against the dark demon attacking him head-on. A blinding golden flash detonates across the entire chamber as the infant channels sacred holy light directly from her tiny glowing hands. Dark and golden energies collide violently at the center of the battle, screaming past each other in a ferocious clash of opposing forces. A figure slams hard into the ground as a spectral outline of a beast rockets past, crashing through the wall at tremendous speed. All the gathered knights kneel in formation before a silver-haired lord who stands composed at their center, eyes sharp with calm authority. The baby's tiny hands radiate pure golden light, her chubby fingers pressed flat against her own chest in deep concentration and focus. A guard cradles the chibai child snugly against his chest as she glares with fierce red eyes and crossed little arms in defiance. A great golden wolf materializes with blazing divine power behind the elder, its massive jaws gaping wide as sacred light fills the entire hall. An elder priest bows his head in exhausted surrender as two knights in blue step forward and take firm hold of his trembling shoulders. The weathered elder snarls with blinding rage, his scarred face twisted in pure fury as red energy crackles and explodes violently around him. The silver-haired lord and a nervous companion stand their ground as the old bishop storms angrily into the confrontation before them both. The chibai child stares with wide, glistening red eyes, her tiny fists pressed anxiously beneath her chin, overwhelmed by what unfolds around her. The elder grits his teeth in unbridled fury, his face a mask of rage as vivid red energy surges and blazes furiously around him. An enormous radiant wolf towers above the desperate elder, its golden fur blazing with divine holy power and its jaws stretched impossibly wide. The baby watches in stunned, blushing silence as the chibai version of herself glows brilliantly with sacred light between both tiny pressed palms. A guard clutches the chibai infant tightly in both hands as she stares up at him with large, startled eyes and flushed pink cheeks. A massive white wolf surges forward wrapped in crackling blue electricity, its roar shaking the entire chamber as bystanders scatter in pure terror. A silver-haired figure enters with icy composure, his gray eyes cutting sharp through the chaos as he steps deliberately into the grand hall. An imposing silver-haired lord strides forward, flanked by loyal knights in blue, as a figure on the left recoils in clear, visible shock. The silver-haired lord fixes the elder with a cold, measuring gaze as he enters the room and extends one gloved hand toward him calmly. The Chibai child gazes upward with wide crimson eyes and tiny fists pressed to her lips, caught completely off guard by the sudden arrival. An enormous golden beast lunges at full sprint directly toward a lone guard who still protects the baby in the middle of the courtyard. An elder in white robes stands sheepishly before the silver-haired lord, while a companion behind him writhes in poorly concealed, embarrassed amusement nearby. The lord's companion grins broadly while presenting a small, ornate figurine of a skeleton knight being dramatically beheaded on its tiny display stand. The baby reaches out curiously toward a skull figurine with chubby little fingers, staring at it in pure, wide-eyed bafflement and confused wonder. The silver-haired lord, towering above issues, commands as knights in blue sweep in and encircle the assembly from every direction around them. A guard holds the Chibai child gently as she covers her mouth with tiny fingers, staring in absolute stunned disbelief at what she sees. The guard cradles the Chibai baby warmly while a silver-haired figure watches beside them. All three surrounded by the calm of aftermath. A cheerful blonde baby wiggles and squirms with delight, completely unaware of the danger that surrounds him on all sides. Red eyes gleam with sharp cunning beneath that innocent baby face, betraying a mind far older than his tiny body suggests. A golden-haired saintess stands with her back turned, long hair catching the light as she clutches a weapon beside a somber escort. The saintess's mouth opens in a wide scream, her face half hidden by wild strands of pale hair, her voice tearing through the silence. Imperial knights in blue and black capes stand together, the baby Isaac cradled carefully in one soldier's gloved hand amid the group. A veteran knight kneels awkwardly on the ground while another dark-haired soldier holds him back, the scene watched from a quiet distance. The scarred old antagonist grins with wide, hollow eyes and bared teeth, his face contorted into something between menace and desperate defiance. A fist grips the hilt of a blade with white-knuckled intensity, the shaking lines around it radiating barely controlled rage and desperation. The old soldier throws his head back, mouth wide open in a battle cry, silver streaks in his hair catching the cold light as he charges. The baby Isaac blinks up with wide, startled red eyes while the skeleton king looms large and terrifying directly behind his tiny head. The silver-haired knight strides forward in a blue cape, sword at his side, expression calm and composed as he surveys the chaos below. Isaac grins wide and rosy-cheeked in the dark-haired guard's arms, his tiny chibai form radiating mischief and delight at the unfolding scene. A group of knights watches in frozen confusion as the dark-haired soldier pats the baby's back repeatedly, trying to soothe the tiny boy. One soldier bursts into happy laughter while the other grins broadly beside him, a tiny skeleton figurine standing between them as they celebrate. The silver-haired knight turns away, his profile sharp and composed, while behind him the flustered guard still holds a very alert baby Isaac. A young blonde man in a dark military coat looms large in the foreground, golden eyes narrowed with quiet, unsettling authority and calculation. Two soldiers laugh with wide, sparkling eyes at something delightful, their expressions full of warmth, the baby nowhere in sight for just a moment. The silver-haired knight holds the now-sleeping Isaac close to his chest, his expression shifting toward something softer as he looks ahead with quiet resolve. The silver-haired knight carries Isaac and walks beside a dark-haired companion, the baby dozing against his shoulder as they move through the corridor. The baby Isaac dozes peacefully in the tall knight's arms, barely aware of the growing tension that fills every corner of the imperial halls. Isaac lies sprawled on his back, one red eye half open, wondering to himself whether someone out there is whispering about his future right now. The silver-haired knight stands close, gazing down at the tiny boy with something unreadable in his pale blue eyes. No words passing between them. The blonde emperor steps forward with his hands clasped behind his back, his golden gaze fixed downward with a slow, unsettling smile spreading wide. The silver-haired knight holds Isaac with both arms while the emperor reaches a hand toward the baby, his intent warm on the surface but hollow underneath. Isaac's tiny face scrunches with deep unease, his red eyes side-eyeing the emperor with barely disguised wariness, suspicion radiating from every inch of his chibi form. A dark-haired saintess with long violet hair spreads her gloved hands wide, eyes half-closed in a dreamy smile as dark energy swirls around her fingers. The silver-haired knight smiles softly, glancing down at the sleeping baby nestled in his arms as snow or stars drift faintly in the background behind him. The emperor stands tall in his full gold-trimmed military regalia, expression flat and controlled, watching the silver-haired knight with calculating eyes from across the room. The silver-haired knight looks irritated, his brow furrowed as he holds Isaac and snaps something back at the emperor, who points one commanding finger at him. The emperor points a gloved finger directly at the knight while Isaac stirs restlessly, the baby's tiny fist balled up and cheeks flushed with discomfort. Isaac blinks with wide, teary red eyes, his chubby face flushed pink as the knight presses him gently to his chest, trying to calm the fussing child. The silver-haired knight shoots a sharp sidelong glance, jaw set tight, while Isaac dozes undisturbed in his arms, completely unaware of the tension boiling above him. The emperor leans in with a sly half-smile and slitted golden eyes, one hand reaching for the baby with a casual confidence no one dares to challenge. The emperor snatches Isaac up smoothly, cradling the baby against his chest as the silver-haired knight stiffens behind him, barely concealing his alarm and distrust. The silver-haired knight grips his brooch tightly, his knuckle pale and tense, jaw clenched as the emperor walks away with the child he was sworn to protect. Isaac's chibi face goes completely blank and purple-shadowed, his tiny mouth curling into a resigned grimace as he realizes his odds and calculates his next move. The emperor's face breaks into a wide, golden-lit grin, warmth radiating from his expression in a way that feels both genuine and dangerously unpredictable to everyone watching. The emperor thrusts Isaac outward on an outstretched hand like an offering while the silver-haired knight watches, startled, from the opposite side of the room. Isaac's tiny face is flushed red with fury, his miniature mouth stretched wide in a scream, purple energy crackling around him like a storm about to break. The silver-haired knight carries Isaac away down a corridor lined with soft morning light, his expression unreadable but protective as the exhausted baby drifts off once more. The emperor faces the knight in a bright sunlit room, pointing at Isaac with one sharp gesture, his golden coat gleaming as he lays out his demands. The silver-haired knight holds Isaac and argues back, his voice tight and urgent, while the emperor keeps his finger raised and his expression dangerously calm and certain. A dark-haired figure in a purple sash clutches something small with a shaking hand, their face turned away in anguish as they struggle with what they are about to do. Golden light explodes outward as the knight reaches toward the baby with a sudden warmth, his blue eyes soft for just a moment before the hardness returns. A woman with long, pale hair grips a longsword with both fists as dark energy crackles all around her, her quiet resolve turning the air brittle and cold. The skeleton king stands upright and triumphant amid swirling purple clouds, bones rattling with power while the two fallen figures below groan into the dirt beneath him. Isaac's chibi face goes pale and hollow-eyed as he drifts off in someone's arms, faintly aware of a saintess raising a glowing, crackling blade in the background. Two cloaked figures in dark hoods stand side by side in the shadows, one grim and silent, the other watching the distance with a faint, unsettling calm. A dark blade sweeps down from above and strikes the old soldier across the face, his expression twisting in shock as the blow sends him staggering backward. The hooded assassin's face is revealed in a close, shadowed frame, eyes half-lidded and expression cold, utterly unmoved by what they have just been ordered to do. The old adversary charges with a furious war cry, wild-eyed and burning with rage, sword cutting the air as the light of battle breaks across his scarred face. A lone figure in white robes kneels alone on the far side of an open field, while three dark-cloaked watchers observe silently from the edge of the path. Isaac lies sprawled on his back in bed, one drowsy red eye cracked open, quietly wondering if the voices he keeps sensing are planning something he cannot yet see. Two hooded figures in dark cloaks face each other in a cold open courtyard, their tones low and certain as they finalize a plan that has no mercy in it. The lead assassin stares forward with cold, half-shadowed eyes and a mouth drawn into a flat, merciless line, delivering the final word without a trace of hesitation. This time, they say, the child will not survive.